see me? Alright. Hello, and welcome to the world of Zesty Chef Z. I am in the process of doing a student category K, which is where we fabricate a chicken and then we make 2 plates. This is the first run that we're doing, so the initial setup. So what I have is basically you have 15 minutes to set up your station, then you have an hour to execute your food, and then you have basically a 15-minute window to plate your food, and then 10 minutes to clean up afterwards. So what I have is my mise en place here, and my mise en place consists of a small split rack. Okay, so I have 2 cutting boards. I have one over here on my station with the chicken all set up. Okay, I have my first tray, which has my knives and a few of the pieces of equipment I'm going to need. I have my French knife, my boning knife for the chicken, my spoon for scraping the chicken carcass, and a few things I might need. Okay. Then each tray is going to consist of each wave of food that I'm doing. So this is for our braising of our chicken thighs. I have my stock, my mirepoix, my tomato paste, my salt, my thyme, and some olive oil. I have a lid. I've already preheated my oven to 350. This is a saute pan, some butter and salt for my chicken breast, and also a pan to cook my chicken breast in. And down here, we have our pickled shallots, our mashed potatoes, and our marsala wine sauce that we're going to be doing here. So I have my pan for this, for the pickled shallots, my potatoes, and my potato masher. And then down here I have my saute pans for my breadcrumbs, and we're going to make a cheesy cracker. And we also are going to do our glazed carrot, which has our carrots, our chives, parsley, honey vinegar, and a little bit of butter. Okay. Now I also have a plating station, which I don't have over here, so there's me over here. So my plating station is going to be on my, probably underneath my station. I'm not sure what the station is going to look like when we are at the facility, but I have some extra pairs of gloves here, which I'm going to be utilizing. I have sponges to wipe my plates. This is water and vinegar. I have some extra salt and pepper just in case I need it. Some tasting spoons to make sure I taste things. This is my resting plate, so when my thighs and my chicken breast comes out, I have some place where it can rest before we do anything with it. I have my plates wrapped in foil, and the reason why I do this is because it makes even heating for the plates. So that's where my 2 plates are. I have a towel. I'm going to be putting this sheet tray inside the oven to warm it up with my plates, and then the towel, that way I don't burn myself on the sheet tray. Okay, so that's there. That's part of my mise en place setup. I'm going to stick this right over here, which is right on top of here first. Okay. This I'm just going to put out of the way for now until I need it. Because again, I'm not sure exactly what the station's going to look like. So I'm just kind of utilizing what I got for now. Okay, so my first step is to actually, I've already washed my hands. You do need a hair restraint on. I'm going to just do it without the hair restraint for today. Just because it's a dental purpose, so no one's going to eat it besides me. So I also have a good thermometer, some spare towels, okay, and we're going to start cooking. Okay, so the first object is to actually butcher our chicken. Now we're actually going to make a chicken marsala without the airline chicken, so we're just going to do a skin-on chicken breast with mashed potatoes, glazed carrots, a crisp Parmesan crisp, and pickled shallots. So now when we set up our station and so forth, I can set up my station here. So basically what I need is my boning knife, okay, which is right here, my French knife, my boning knife. Okay, I'm going to be using that first. Okay, I'm going to be using my spoon, okay, which I can set up here, okay. And then after that, when I go right into my cooking, I can actually start working on some things as well. So, like right here, I have my pots and pans for my things of browning my mirepoix. Okay, so I'm just going to take those off. I'm going to put the lid over here. And I'm just going to go ahead and put them right on the burners. Okay. Now also I can grab my water for my potatoes. So I'm going to find my potato pan, okay, which is right here. Now I have about 4 burners here, but I might have 6 over at the college. So I'm actually going to take my pickled shallot pan off as well, and that's going to save me a little bit of time also. So I'm just going to stick him in the back because I will need him later. Okay, my water I can grab from here. Okay, so I'm just going to fill him up with a little bit of water. Now, if you needed stock heated, we can actually heat that stock up. That could be part of your mise en place. Okay, now my oven's already preheated to 350, so I'm good there. Now, what I'm going to do is before I start doing my chicken, I'm actually going to cut my mirepoix first. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn this heat on low, I mean very low. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing with this pan here. Oops. That means super low. Now these are thick bottom pans, which I like because they'll heat up nice and easy, but then they can take a lot of heat. So I'm just going to do that. Okay. Now all my stuff is mise en place. I have a little bit of oil here. I'm just going to put him on the counter over here. Okay. So when we start cooking, what I'm going to do is I want to start caramelizing my mirepoix. So even though my chicken is here and it's on a bed of ice, which is right here, which is great, I'm going ahead and I'm going to grab my stock. Okay, I'm going to put him right here on the table here. My mirepoix here. My salt, tomato paste, and thyme is all set to go. Okay. So that way that is all set. Okay. So this is where I should be at with my first set of mise en place. So again, I have my pans kind of warming. I got my potato pot, which I can actually turn that on. I got him under low heat as well. I'm not going to turn the shallots on just yet because I need to saute my chicken breast, but that should be after this. So I'm just going to have it set right over the pilot light so he stays kind of warm. So we're at a good spot right now. Okay. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and start chopping my mirepoix. Now if you look, I do have chicken towels by itself. Now I do have a separate one up here for just towels in general. So when I'm done, I'm going to take the chicken towels and just discard them due to the fact where I don't want to confuse anybody or myself by not using these for when I need to use it that's not contaminated. Save that 10 times faster. Thank you. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and start with this. So I'm going to take my lid, pop out my mirepoix. Okay. Now these containers I can just throw out. Okay, so that way it doesn't bother or whatever I'm doing. So this can just be rough chopped. So I'm just going to take and cut these. These have already been pre-washed. Okay. So I do still want to have it somewhat consistent, just because I want to make sure I get the most flavor out of it. So I'm going to go a little bit smaller. And just remember the ratio of any type of product that you're doing is the mirepoix is 50% onion, 25% celery. Okay. Now, if you wash your vegetables really good, you can actually add your peels to your carrots. Just this time I did not do that. But since this is all washed, I'm just going to cut that out as well. Now I already have stock already made, okay, which is acceptable. Now you can put skins and stuff like that in here. We got a little bit too much celery, but we're just going to go ahead and throw that in anyway. Okay, so I got a little bit of waste here. I should probably get a waste container or a compost bin. I'm just going to put that right there for us. Okay, so now I'm going to start my mirepoix. So I'm just going to turn my heat up a little bit on my one pan. I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil to it. just a little bit. We're gonna let that heat up for a sec. Okay. And we want to get a nice caramelization on the vegetables. So we're just going to come over here. Okay, you should be able to hear us on that, so make sure that you get that. And I'm going to grab one of my spatulas I need to cook with. Put that over here. Now I'm going to let that come to fruition while I'm starting to do my chicken. Okay, so if I have my chicken here, now remember we're going to stretch the legs out. Now we're only going to use the thighs. I'm going to pinch the skin. Make sure I cut very close to the leg. Okay. Same thing with this side. That's that belly fat. I'm going to pop the joints. Okay, flip around. Cut the skin. Okay, I need to make sure I get my oysters out. Okay, so remember this muscle comes up here to this, and we have a little bit of roundness right there. So I'm going to get the oyster out. I want to make sure it's nice and clear. Okay, right there's the oyster. So I'm going to angle my knife down the backbone. So I got meat here, backbone here. Okay, something like that. Do the other side. I'm going to cut the skin. Okay, find where my oyster is on this side. Remember, it's symmetrical. Symmetrical. No, that's not the word, is it? Symmetry. So whatever is on one side is actually on the other side. Okay, just going to cut that. And again, along the backbone. Okay. Now we're not using the legs or anything like that, so we're just going to cut the little bit of skin here. Okay. For this side of the fat line, we're going to cut on the side of the rummy. Okay, so we're not cutting through the bone, we're actually cutting through the joint. Okay, I'm going to pop that there. Now I'm just going to trim this as I'm going because I hear my vegetables starting to sear in the back. Okay, I'm just going to take off any little excess fat that I don't like. Okay, I'm going to find the joint there. And again, cutting through the joint, not through the bone. Okay. Again, any excess fat that I don't like, I'm just going to trim off. And I have all the little fat stuff here, I'm just going to trim right off. Okay. Okay, and then right here, we're just going to take the wings right off the joint. So we're not going to do the airlines, we're just going to cut the wings. So we got to find that joint. Got right through there, but we do have to segment. So we're going to segment here. Okay. We're going to segment right up the joint here. Again, just have to find it. You know, if you need to wiggle it, wiggle it. Whoop. That was a bad one. Don't cut through the bone. Okay, but I got my flat and my wing bean. This is for my stock. And this is my schmutz or smoltz. Okay, so we're going to take this wing off as well. I can find the joint on this one. A little better, but still need a little practice. I'm going to cut the joint here for my flat. Okay. So I got both my flats and my drums. Okay, this is for stock. Okay, vegetables are still looking okay, so we're doing good there. Now, if you need to adjust your heat, adjust your heat. Okay. So now we're going to take the breast off. Now we can actually just, actually I've got to take the wishbone out. So make sure we take the wishbone out. Okay. So remember that's on the side over here on the back. So I'm going to cut that. And scrape this. And right there is our wishbone. Okay. Make sure you expose both areas. And once you get them exposed, we can actually cut. I'm going to go ahead and cut this neck piece right here. Okay, so there's my wishbone. I'm going to cut towards the neck. Hold on, Chef lost it. Hold on a minute. Okay, there's my thing. I'm going to cut towards the neck to get the wishbone out. And cut that to the other side. Remember, we like to see nice clean wishbones. Okay, so now remember that blade goes into the breast, so we want to make sure we pinch that off. Pinch that off, just like so. Okay, again, we want this to make sure it's nice and clean, so make sure you clean that up a little bit before you present it to the judges. Now, before you guys start cooking, so I think we should take this off right here. We want to make sure we tighten up that skin. Actually, take a couple paper towels, tack it up a little bit, wipe off our mess. Let's take a look at our mirepoix. That's still doing okay. It's not browning just yet, so we got the temperature at a good one. But you want to make sure you fabricate your chicken all the way through until you can fabricate that. Fabricate your chicken while your vegetables are cooking. Okay, so I'm just going to cut right in the middle until I hit that sternum. Okay. Cut that fat. Now, since we're fabricating to our needs, we can cut this any which way we want it. But the fabrication process still has to go through until the very end, even though that you're not going to use these pieces. So I'm not using this first chicken breast here. I'm only going to use one chicken breast and both thighs. Okay, so make sure that we're going down the rib cage. Make sure that you're getting all the meat off there. Looking for a really good looking rib cage and carcass that has no meat on it. Now we are going to take the tenders off of this. Okay, so again, here's my collarbone right there. I'm just going to sever that. And get that little bit of fat there, a little bit back here, but I'm going to take that in a minute. Okay, here's my chicken tender. Take that and score that all the way down. Make sure that you're not cutting the breast. Okay. There's one tender. Okay, the chicken's got a good amount of fat on it. I'm just going to trim a little bit of this neck fat off. That's going to go into my sweats pile. Okay, that's actually looking pretty good, so we're going to set that on the side. Now remember, we got to do the C cut right up against our sternum, which is right here, to get all that nice meat right off of here. Push this through. On the other side of the sternum, and start taking off the chicken breast. And again, just get it right down the rib cage. Make sure you get all that good meat off there. Got a lot of the neck fat there, so we're just going to trim that off, go into our sweats pile. Now this is our stock, so we want to make sure we get rid of all that fat. And vegetables are still looking okay. We want to make sure we kind of look at those at all times. Okay, we got the back fat right here, we're going to trim that off. Now we can use the chicken fat for smolts and for crackling. Okay, crackling is this seasoned chicken skin that's cooked crispy to the bacon, and the smolts is actually where we actually render the chicken fat down and collect the fat from it, and then we use the grease for cooking. All right, so now we're going to take our spoon and just kind of scrape our carcass down, or any leftover meat that might be on here that we missed. Okay. If you have a lot, like right here, I don't have any meat on here, which is good. I have a little bit over here on this side. Okay, and then flip it over and you got the back meat. As you can get some of that off right by the shoulder blades. But use your spoon, it's got a good angle on it. And we can turn these scraps into an appetizer. We can turn these into like chicken raviolis. We can make like a ragu out of it. Okay. And so we got our little bit of meat there. good there. Okay, so we're gonna set that aside. We're gonna go ahead and take this and take the tenderloin off of this one so we can finish this up. Okay, there's my second tender, okay, which we can use for other things. Okay, this chicken breast looks really good too. Actually, I think I kind of like him better than the first one, so we're gonna go ahead and use this one for our dinner. Okay, so our stock meat, we're gonna cut right through the rib cage. Okay, just pull that apart. We're gonna cut right here, right where the collarbones are at. There's a joint right there. We're gonna cut that. Okay, and then we're going to cut right here, right below the sternum. Okay, just like that. Get that in there. And then we usually cut the back. I usually cut the neck. Since it's a pretty long neck, I'm gonna cut it once, twice. And I'm going to cut right above the hips, right there where the oysters were, and right below it. Okay. Before you start this stop, make sure that you check with the judges to see if you've received, so they can see that you've cleaned your carcass good. Okay. And go ahead and take one glove off. I'm going to stir my mirepoix. As you can tell, it's got some good browning coming up. Okay, just like that. Okay, so now my other pan should be kind of still warm, so I'm just going to pour that in there, right there with a little bit of olive oil. Okay, and again, we've already checked with the judges to see if we can go ahead and start with this. We're going to go like this in here, and any other ones that I have for this here and here. And I want to caramelize that. Okay. Okay. Let me wash my hands. Actually, let me get rid of this first. So I want you to take this, put that there. Okay, we're gonna wash these really quick. Wash that. We're gonna put this in the cooler for a minute. Actually, no, we don't. Forget that. I gotta shove this full of butter first. Then we can clean up. So I'm gonna stick the rest of this in the cooler. Again, I only contaminated with this hand, so we're good there. This guy goes in the cooler. So with my non-contaminated pan, I'm going to bring out my butter, my salt, pepper, my cast iron skillet, saute pan. Okay. I'm going to stick these right here. So we have dirty dishes. I can put those there. Okay. All right. So let me get this going. Let me wash my hands really quick so I can finish up my mirepoix that's cooking. Okay, so let me wash my hands really quick. Now, if you're actually a little messy with your chicken fabrication, my chicken was very patted dry, so I didn't have any sloppiness, so I'm not going to change my apron out. But if you realize that you splattered and stuff like that, then change out your apron. All right, so my vegetables are mirepoix, so I'm going to take this, add a little bit of seasoning. Okay. Then I add my tomato paste, my thyme. I want to get like a little color on this as well. Now the tomato, we're going to roast off in the pan as well, which is going to give us a nice little hint of cooking. So we're going to stir that up real nice and good. Get that tomato paste covered on all your vegetables. Okay. And if this was smell-o-vision, you'd have a really good smell right now because it smells really amazing. Okay, one thing important I forgot was actually we're cooking the thighs. So chef's having a good old time with this stuff. Okay, so we're gonna let that brown for just a minute more. I'm gonna go ahead and get my little pair of my tongs. I have to grab our thighs. We are using that. So we're gonna add those in with our stock. So basically what I'm gonna do is, before we added the bones, we can actually add the thighs. So I wanna get a good sear on the thighs. first before I added the mirepoix in. So again, this is our first run through, so we always make adjustments as we need it. So again, before we add the stock bones, we're actually going to put our thighs in first, sear those off, and then we can actually either remove them or then we just add our bones to it, which they seem to be fitting okay in here all together. But you want to make sure you got that nice, hot, good sear to it. Okay, so we're going to set those right there. Okay, now as you can tell, we're getting some good caramelization on the vegetables and stuff. Now what I'm going to do is add half my stock. This is stock that you already bring that you've made prior. So we're going to add that. Now we're going to deglaze the pan, basically. And we're going to get all that good stuff off the bottom. So make sure you scrape the bottom really good. Okay, because we don't want any of that, this is called fond, the stuff that's on the very bottom of the pan. So we want to get all that fond off the pan by deglazing. But you can see how nice and rich that stock just turned by getting that tomato paste in there, and then all the extra vegetables. Okay, so we're going to lift that heat just for a minute. Okay, so that comes up to temperature. And now as far as our chicken goes, we want to make sure that we have a good sear on our thighs. Now we're not going to serve it with the skin on it, but we want to, like, I'd probably go a little bit bigger than that, or a little bit darker than that. So let's flip those back around for a minute and just let those sit for a minute. Okay. While we're waiting on those and so forth, our hands are still clean. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and take my one pan from here. Okay. I'm just going to add my apple cider vinegar, my sugar, and my sachet bag of pickling spice right in there. Okay. And we're going to slowly put that on the burner. Okay, so we're going to put that on low heat so that dissolves. Okay, in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and take our chicken. And we're going to shove our butter inside there. Okay, the way the chicken's looking, I'm just going to go ahead and set this pan over here because I think it'll fit right in there. So what I'm going to do is take a little bit of butter, I'm going to stick some on the bottom here. Okay, just right there on the bottom. Now you don't want to remove the skin, so you just want to basically find an opening where you can shove all this butter in here. So we're going to come back to that saute pan and give a good crisp to it. Okay, so we're just going to take that, put that all in there. Okay, put a little bit more down here. And we want to use all this butter. Yes, all of it. Okay. Make sure that skin is nice and tight over the two, because we're going to serve that skin on the chicken. So we want to make sure it's nice and crispy. Okay. So we get that in there, and pat it down a little bit so that skin goes all the way across. Okay. That looks good there. So we're just going to take our salt and pepper, or our salt mixture. Go this side, that side, and we'll have to get the rest of that on the skin. So we got a nice crispy skin going. We're going to pop that right in there. That's a perfect fit, so we're good. And again, when we take off gloves, that way you don't contaminate your stuff, you're going to pinch right here about the palm. Oops, not like that. Alright, that didn't work out good, so there we go. Take it like that. There we go. We're actually going to take this, put this in the oven. Alright, now we're going to check this. So we got a good sear on the chicken. Okay. Got some good sear on the bones. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to hit this with the rest of the stock. Kind of deglaze it. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put our thighs up the top a little bit, and we're going to scrape the bottom to get all that fond off of the pan. And you can usually tell by the way the pan looks or the pan feels on the bottom that you got all the fond off. Okay. So that looks really, really good. Now we're going to use some of this braising liquid with our for our sauce. So now what we're going to do is we're going to transfer. We're actually going to take the thighs right here and put this right in here for a minute. Okay. And we're just going to pour the vegetables right on top. Okay, right there. Right there. Okay, make sure we get all the vegetables out of here. Okay. And then I want to make sure I got my thighs where I can reach them really good. So they're just going to set on top of the thing there. And we're going to put this. Now it should be. I see the things moving for a minute, so let's wait a minute on that. Okay, it looks like my sugar is almost dissolved in my pickling stuff there, so that's almost ready to go. I can almost add my shallots there. Okay, so once that comes up to a boil, we're going to go ahead and stick the lid on it and stick it in the oven. I'm going to go ahead and turn him off for now. I'm just going to keep this for my dirty utensils. Okay. So let me go ahead and get this washed. Now I'm going to go ahead and get rid of my chicken towels because I don't need that anymore. Okay. Go. Okay, so I got my sanitation water finally. Gonna wipe up my entire station. Now again, it wasn't too bad because I kept all my chicken and chicken juice on the cutting board. So I'm doing really good as far as cleanliness goes. And you always want to make sure you're constantly wiping your station. Okay. All right, so we need our other cutting board, which is right here. Okay. So we're good here. Okay, so our next step is to get our mashed potatoes going. Okay. We're still doing okay there. Okay. Doing okay there. Our water's on for our potatoes, so we're just going to turn that up just a hair. Okay, so we're doing good there. So we need potatoes. Okay, which we're just going to peel and cut in a good amount of time. There's my knife that's already washed. Okay, and I don't have my peeler with me, so thank goodness. Actually, I do have my peeler right there. Thank you, helper. Now I have my potato here. I can get rid of that. As you can tell, my station's all nice and clean. Now I'm going to take just my normal towels. I'm going to take 2 of these, place them down here. I'm going to go ahead and peel it. Now they say you can bring peeled vegetables in, but potatoes are super easy to peel. Now you have to remember that the quicker the potato, or the smaller the potatoes are, the quicker they're going to cook. So we're doing okay on that, because we're going to cut them nice and small, so that way we can get them cooked properly to make mashed potatoes. Okay, so good peel. Now this was already washed prior to bringing it here. That's why it was in the container. Now I usually make sure I walk through, make sure there's nothing left in there. Okay, that's good. Okay, and then once I can do that, I can just take all my mess, wrap it up in a paper towel, get my cutting board to wipe, get rid of that. We do have a compost bin here at Dakota, so we would definitely use it as a compost bin. We actually put that there. Okay, so my thing has come up. We're going to go ahead and put a lid on him. And we're going to stick him in there to cook as well. Okay. So we're at 350, which I might just turn that up just a hair. Okay. Just to play it safe. Okay, so my potato water is there. Again, my pickled shallot here is just about done. Be careful, the handles are getting hot. So make sure you have your towels with you. Okay. So I'm going to cut my potato, because you don't want to make sure this stays out too long so it'll start to oxidize. So I'm just going to cut it here because it's very rolly, so I'm just going to cut here. I'm going to flop it on here so I have a stable surface. Make sure you touch in your fingers. And just cutting them through. Okay, they can make stacks. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so now we're going to just cut these into a rough dice. Again, make sure that they're all pretty much the same because they will be cutting or cooking at the same rate. So that way they're all done at the same time. Okay, my pan is hot, so I'll leave it out the stove for a minute. So we're going to go ahead and take our thing here. Okay, we're going to pop our potatoes in. Now I'm just going to take a little bit of our salt just to season our water a little bit. Okay, put him back on the burner here. Okay. Pickle, looks like all the sugar has been dissolved. I'm just going to set them just over the flame a little bit more. Okay, go ahead and get my shallots in there. You know, since that's a small area, we have to make sure that they're completely covered. So we want to make sure we put those into the liquid. Make sure you switch down that pickle sachet bag. And that should be good. That should give us enough coverage and flavor to cook those. Now we just want to cook those until tender. Okay. Okay, so we have our potato mise en place right here, so we're not ready for that until the potatoes are done. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this stuff out right here. Now I can put this stuff all on top of my cart. So right now we're going to be doing the Parmesan crisp. We should have enough room in there, but I want to get my carrots cut first. So you have to make sure you do enough for 3 plates. Now it's really cool if you can do a knife cut, but if you guys are running behind a little bit, if you're not going to do your julienne or your batonette, one of the quick and easy ways to actually cut carrot is the obliques. Now the obliques is basically almost like a wedge cut. So basically you're going to cut out like on a 45-degree angle, okay? You're going to cut down like this, and see how it's just like a wedge. Okay, now normally I turn it on its side so I can see how straight I am, so I'm going to cut a straight. Okay, then I can cut on an angle again. Okay, and then cut it down. So again, this is a 45-degree angle, and cut it. So these are called obliques. Now what that does is it helps us take a carrot of some sort to cut it a little bit more evenly than what it would be like if you cut just a normal root vegetable that's tapered like this. So we can actually just cut, again, a nice little wedge. Oh, that wasn't a very long one. But you want to make sure you get a nice wedge on there. They should be almost like the same weight. So even like right here, I can start cutting a little bit longer. So that way they're all about weighted the same. Now if I mix that up a little bit, it actually looks pretty good. Okay, so I'm just going to do one more here. Okay, so I'll put that into our compost bin. I got a little bit of here of the core that I don't like, so I'm going to get rid of that. And I think if I just did one more, I should be pretty good. Now you can make them skinny or wide as much as you like. but always have like a good look to them. Like that. So if I actually take 2 plates, yeah, I think that should be enough, but let's just do a couple more. Because who doesn't like extra veggies on their plate, right? Zesty Chef Z does, that's for sure. He likes glazed carrots. Okay. All right, that should be good enough. Okay, so we're good with that, so we're gonna set him up there. Okay. Reminder, we should probably have a container for any excess stuff or whatever we have. So we're just gonna put him off to the side for a minute. We should put that into a container. Now, the carrots have chives, parsley, so those are our seasonings there. We also have vinegar and honey, which what we're going to do is we're going to put those in with that, and we're going to cook the carrots, but we're going to, that's one thing I didn't account for was the carrots on the pots. So again, this is good little trialing. So we're going to add one more pot to our mise en place. So we're just going to use a small pot here because we're going to saute it a little bit with our, but we need to par cook our carrots because they're not going to cook. We're going to plop them right on the stove. Now again, it just depends on where you're at and so forth with the burners and stuff like that that you're working with. So right now I have one whiskey's down here, so I covered it up. And we're going to go ahead and make our breadcrumbs too while we're at it. So that there. Actually, probably to keep it neat, just slide this back right on the squeeze guard. Put it down where you need it. Okay, because I need the butter for that as well. All right, so the honey. Okay, the honey and the vinegar goes into a pan. Okay, we had to use our old honey, so the regular honey is going to look a little bit better than this. This one off line eye. And then our vinegar. And we're not ready for this yet, but we're just going to go ahead and put this on slow heat. And what we want to do is mix the vinegar and the honey together. And we're going to kind of reduce it down. And then we're going to add our butter to it. So just like that. And potatoes, I'm just going to turn up just a hair. Oops, wrong burner. There we go. Okay, so that's going to reduce down until we get a good reduction on it. Okay. Our shallots are simmering, which looks fantastic. Okay, potatoes are cooking. Okay, this is for my carrots. Now I did add, when you're labeling things, make sure you label it, but then also what they're used for, which is really helpful. Because that way, if you're looking at your ingredients and all of a sudden you find out that you're missing or have an ingredient that's left over, then you know where it goes. Okay. All right, so this is for my chicken when we come back out. So let's go ahead and while that's doing that, we're going to do this. So we have our saute pan here. Actually, I will take this off just because we don't need that just yet. Okay. We're going to take this, we're going to heat this pan up a little bit. We're going to heat up, we're going to do a little bit of oil. Okay. So I have some Parmesan cheese, some parsley, some pink peppercorns that have been rounded up. And what I want to do is I want to brown the breadcrumbs a little bit inside our saute pan.
Okay, so we want to make sure that the saute pan is hot. Okay. Now one thing too is you don't want to leave towels on your station at all either, because we don't know what those are used for. So if the health department came in and they go, what are these towels for? And they say, oh, well, we want to make sure that they're in the sandy bucket if we have loose towels. So the silt pad we have, which is right here, covered up with parchment paper so we don't have to worry about contaminating that while we travel. Okay. That's why it's so important to actually put your pans on prior, because they do take advantage of the work, especially if you have the higher gauged steel. So I'm just going to take this and just kind of stir my potatoes because it's not contaminating. As stirring them, I can still feel that they're still kind of hard, so that's okay. Now, if you have like miscellaneous equipment, stuff like that, that you're not going to use again, because again, I touched this with raw product, the inside, I'm just going to take this and put this on the bottom of the speed rack now. That way it's up and out of the way and the station's nice and clean. Okay. So my pan is just about there, so I'm going to take my breadcrumbs and sprinkle that in there. Now I want to just get a little bit of a brown to it. Now while that's kind of toasty, I'm going to go ahead and add my peppercorns. And the reason for that is I want to bring out some more of the peppery flavor to it. Okay, so I'm just going to add that. And if you actually take a look, it's actually adding a little bit more color to it in the pan, which is nice. I know you guys can't smell that, but that smells delicious. Okay, again, I just want to get a nice light brown on it. So it was a little tanner, but it's just a little darker now, but I'm just going to let it go for just a second more. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put this right onto our silk pad. Okay, and we're not going to use this anymore, so we're just going to put that there. Then we're going to add our Parmesan cheese. Okay, and our parsley. And then we need just a little bit more parsley in there, so we're going to add a little bit more of that later. I'm going to take one of my gloves. Stir around. Now the sheet tray is not hot, but the peppercorns are, so just go ahead and stir that up a little bit. And make sure it's got a good mixture to it. Now when this comes out, we're going to cut it when it's hot, so we can actually shape it to the thing that we need. So we want a nice even keel on it. So if you need to shake it, actually I'll shake it on, not on the cutting board, since it's got the rubber stoppers on it. Kind of shake it. Okay. Now all this other stuff's probably going to get a little bit in there, so I'm just going to take that, just kind of shake it down a little bit. Okay, again, that smells really, really good. Okay, so we're going to pop this guy in the oven. Now you can probably, hopefully you have a little bit to go, and we can actually put this right on the top, which is going to be fine. Okay. Chicken looks like it's simmering pretty nicely. It's cooking in all that butter. So again, we want to cook our chicken to 165. Okay. So our pickled shallots, we're going to take a check on those. Okay, so we're going to pull those off the heat for a minute. Okay, those are looking really nice. We grab our tasting spoon. Now again, these are going to be super hot. Now I can tell they're cooked because they're drooping, but I want to make sure that they're fully cooked for our tastings. Okay, still a little firm, so we're going to keep it on the heat. The flavor's coming along nicely though. Very nice. Okay. We're going to go ahead and turn down this flame. Put our butter back on here. So I can start reducing. Okay, potatoes are still going. Okay, so we're going good there. And again, we want to reduce this down until it's almost redundant, or not redundant. Chef can't speak today. So anyway, we're going to reduce this down until it reaches the consistency of almost like it's almost gone. And then we're going to add our butter. And then we have our carrots here for that. And then we also need a place to strain, so I forgot our strainer. That's another thing we got to add. So more parsley, more strainer. Now we can use this twice, once for the carrots and once for the potatoes. Okay, so we have that now. Okay. So again, I like to add a little bit more parsley to the breadcrumb area. So again, we gotta clean up our mess, set our towels up. We can just take our towel and just kind of give a nice little wipe. Okay. So while everything else is doing that, we have our sauce to make still. Now we do have our mushrooms to cut, and we have all our mise en place here for the potatoes and for our sauce. So we're going to go ahead and cut our mushrooms. So these mushrooms, you need to make sure that you just cut the tip off right here. If you don't want any dry pieces on there. So we can actually put that into a nice vegetable stock. So we're just going to go ahead and cut these. And that's okay if you have your carrots right next to you. That's okay. Okay, so we're just going to do a nice even slice on it. Now you could dice these if you wanted to, but I'm just going to go slices. You could do rough chop as well, because you do have the thighs that we're doing. We're going to be chopping those back up and putting them into the sauce. But I think just slices will be fine. But if you were to dice these, then what I would normally do is just slice the stem off right here. Still trim them up, but then slice here and then just dice it. I probably cut this in half, and then strip here and then turn it and dice it. And then you can just dice up the stem the way it is. So again, these are nice small little mushrooms, so we're just going to leave them whole. So they will shrink. So we should be good there. So we got our carrots, we have our mushrooms. I'm going to take my look and stuff. Again, we have our marsala sauce, we have our butter, garlic, our wine. So we're going to saute our butter, saute these up with mushrooms, hit it with the wine, then hit it with the braising liquid. And then we got butter, some cream, and Parmesan. Now this is to taste, so this is going to be up to you guys on what you guys want to do. Now we're just going to mash them right inside of our pan. So we have a potato masher. Now I only have one of these, so we do have a ricer, which I can show you guys next time. Okay, so we got our butter for that. So we actually turn the vegetable liquid up. And this water for our vegetables is taking forever. Okay, our potatoes are finally on a boil. Okay, just by feeling them, they're still kind of hard. So they should take about 3 minutes. Okay. Now I'm just going to poke our breast just to see where our breast is. Okay. So again, we want to make sure we have a good working thermometer. Okay, we got our thing here. And we're going to check our crispness too. Okay, not quite yet. Okay, so we're still doing okay there. Okay. Now that's been cooking in a lot of butter. Now if you actually see the fat here, it's kind of crispy, but we're going to probably crispen that up a little bit more. Okay, so we are actually done here. So we're going to pull him out. Okay, just like so. Okay. Now what we'll do is we're going to check our thighs just in case. Okay. Now just be careful when you open up the lid, make sure you open it away from yourself. Okay. And our thigh is right, thigh is right there. Okay, he is done as well. Okay, so we're good there. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and take him out. So we're gonna pop him off to the side. That allows me to bring this guy to the bottom. And now since he's coming, see how it's starting to get brown right there? So it's getting there. So we have to be careful. Okay, so we're good with our chickens. Okay, so we actually have on our plating station over here. We have our resting plate. Okay, so we're actually going to take our chicken. We have our other pair of tongs right here. Okay, so we're going to take him. Now, if we have time, what we're going to do is we're going to put him back into a saute pan and sear the skin only to get it nice and rich, brown on there. So this is all good to go. Okay, so we don't need him anymore. Okay. Now, if you take a look at this, this is all set to go. That's really down where we need it. Okay, so we're going to add our butter. Okay. That's okay. Take our scratch out. We're going to pop our butter in there. Okay. Put it back on the stove. Just want to shake that in there. Now it should melt fairly quickly. Just like so. Put that extra butter on there. Okay. So actually our breadcrumb pan actually. Take that out. So since we only toast some breadcrumbs in there, I'm just going to take this towel and just wipe it out really quick. Add some oil to it, so we'll saute our chicken breast in that. Alright, so we need to get rid of that. Okay, our carrot water is finally boiling. Like that. Now these should take about 2 to 3 minutes to blanch pretty good. Okay, let's check our potatoes. So those are just about there, so I'm good with that. Okay, and then I need to check our shallots. Those are actually looking really, really nice. Go with our tasting spoon. Those are just there. You just need like about another 2 minutes maybe. That's okay. That is going to be done nicely. Okay, so that's our carrots, that's the cooking. Okay, so we're going to get this. We get our thighs out of there. Okay. Now I'm going to leave the fat on there for now. We're going to come back to that because we're going to debone this and crisp up that skin. So we're just going to lay him right up here. It could be just off to your station again, depending on where you're situated at, and we should be good there. Okay, so that's for our that there. Okay. Now we're going to need a little bit of this liquid, so we need to add a ladle to our repertoire. Need the ladle because I might be able to use the strainer that's for the potatoes and for the vegetables if I do it in the right order. So we might not need that ladle. Okay. So with this being said, which the searing our marsala sauce, what we're going to do is with our marsala sauce here, we're going to put the butter in here already. And when we saute our chicken breast to get that good sear, we're going to have that there. So that'll be good here. Okay, so I'm going to take my towel and take off our shallots, and we're just going to let that cool on our table. I'll put our things here. And again, this is for our carrots, which is looking really nice. And again, I'm not contaminating anything with all our stuff. Okay, so the potatoes look actually pretty good. Okay, potatoes are done. And you should have a sink in your area. So we're going to drain the potatoes. Okay, now after your potatoes, you want to let them sit for a minute so all the extra moisture comes off of them. Okay, so we're going to turn down our, whoops. Okay, that's a little done. Okay, so we forgot about that. Okay. Okay, so my carrots are still cooking. My chicken is ready for that. Almost ready to start my sauce from that. Okay, so again, we want to make sure that we let all the water drip off of our potatoes, because that way we don't get any water on there. Okay, so once that's drip dry, we got our Parmesan, our butter, and our cream. And that, and we have our salt and pepper up here to season. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put them back into the pan. Okay, I'm going to save this for our carrots. And possibly for our stock as well. So I'm just going to put him right up over here. Okay, we got to be careful, the pan is hot. So we're just going to bring it back to our station over here. Now we're going to put in our Parmesan cheese. Again, this is to taste. Okay, so you're going to have to taste your potatoes. I'm just going to add all butter because all the butter, everybody loves butter. So we're just going to put everything all into there. We need to cream our potatoes out, so I'm just going to add a little bit of that. Now, depending on how you like your potatoes and so forth, looks like I'm going to add a little salt and pepper. Okay. Now, you don't want to have them too loose, so you just got to be careful on how much cream you put in. So right there, that looks really good. Okay. Now, I'm just going to add a little more Parmesan cheese just to tighten it up just a little bit. Oop, that was a little bit too much. I'm sure it'll taste good because I have a lot of people like Parmesan cheese too. Okay, again, we want to taste it. Maybe just a little bit more salt and pepper. And I think it's good. Okay, so we got that. Okay, we'll put these back over here. Okay. We need to keep that hot as well, so we need to put the lid, make sure we put the lid on now. It's hot. Okay, we don't need the mashed potato anymore. Okay, carrots. Okay. Again, just be careful, these things are really hot because you're just cooking. Okay. Let's try that again. Okay, that's good. Yeah. Careful, our pan's probably going to be a little bit hot. So I'm going to take this, and we're going to strain that again. Again, you should have a sink nearby. Okay, just like that. We're all done with this pan, we're going to go down there. We're going to stick this into our lovely jus. And heat that up as we go along. Right. So we're going to bring this pan here. And this pan here, get that nice and hot. We can turn off the back one. Okay. I want to get this hot quick because we're almost ready to go. Now what I want to do is put my plates and my sheet tray from my plating area into the oven. Okay, so I'm all done cutting, so I'm good here. Just take that here, I'm not going to use that, so I'm good there. I'll go ahead and start cleaning up my area. I need this and this over here. That's good. I'm going to turn down the carrots a little bit. Okay, we're good there. Okay, we got a good bubble going on over there. I don't need my knife anymore. I might need my towels. I'm just going to put that there. I'm going to wipe that down. Okay. Nothing again was unsanitary on it. Okay, we're going to sanitize our area one more time. Okay, so we're good there. Okay, now unfortunately this didn't turn out, but looks like we had maybe too much breadcrumbs and not enough Parmesan cheese. So we'll have to play with that formula in a minute. Or omit it whatsoever. Okay, so I have my pan here. I'm going to get my chicken. And just crispen that skin up. So I'm going to push down on it. And it shouldn't take that long. Again, I just want to crispen it up a little bit. Okay, almost there. Now as you can tell, the butter has browned a little bit, so maybe we just not put the butter in there. So just use straight olive oil to brown it. Okay, that's what we want. Okay, just nice and easy. I'm gonna put that back there. Okay, now since this has hot oil, I'm just gonna go ahead and put that here because we're not using that. Wipe out my saute pan. This is not ideal right here. Okay, but since we kind of browned the butter, put that back on here. We're just going to use a little bit of olive oil. Okay, we have to get our mushrooms in there. Our shallots, and garlic. So again, this is for our carrots. Okay. So I'm actually going to probably put these together. Just to mix the two. Remember, this is ready to eat, so you don't want to touch it. Okay.